Hello, this is John from Clock Repairs Merseyside again. I just thought I'd do a little bit more about this Drummond Lathe I have. As I was saying in the previous video, it's by far my favourite lathe out of, I've actually got three, which I'll do a little bit of a feature on all of them. I think it might be of interest to somebody. But this lathe it's my favourite. The reason being is that the way it feels. You know, they say that a lathe, it should feel like an extension of your arm. It should, and it feels sure to me when I'm working with it. It really feels nice, and it's probably not the most accurate lathe out of the three we've got because of its age. I mean, it's probably been round the block quite a few times. It is dated from about 1905. It has a very small chuck. I'd say that looks to me about 3 inch. It's a 3-inch chuck. I mean, it's got all this back gear and stuff to slow the chuck down if you need to slow it down even further. But as I say, it can slow down to about 266 revs, and it's got a max of about 788 revs per minute. I can actually get it to go a little bit faster. I can get it to get about 1281, but I think that's too fast for the spindle on this type of lathe. I think it would cause problems in the end, a lot of wear, which you really don't want to do really. I've obviously put a quick change tool post on of the Chinesium type, because the original tool post, if I can just get hold of it, was this type of thing, which works well, but it just takes a lot of time to set it up, to get your tool to the center and things like that. So I thought investments, I think it was about 40 quid in the end by the time we got a few bits to hire it up and that. I think it was supposed to go on a Unimat type lathe, but I made it to work with this, and it works fine. I'm quite happy with it. Quite happy. It's pretty sturdy. I'm quite happy with it. As you can see, all the numerals are quite, they're a little bit worn in some places, but not as much. It's actually an imperial lathe. It's not metric. But again, I've said in other videos, I tend to work using a micrometer and do it that way. So really, that's the way I do it. I feel much happier doing that. That's the way I've been taught, and so that's the way I do it, and I'm quite happy with that. The tailstock, it's an MT1, I think. Again, it's pretty robust. It's got obviously a Chinesium chuck in it, although I do have other chucks which are much better. I mean, this is quite a nice chuck. This also is pretty nice. I actually think this one's a little bit worn, if I'm honest. I mean, I don't use it that often anymore. And also I have a 4-jaw independent type chuck. Now, that's obviously when I want to get something really accurate, and then I'll dial it in using this dial gauge here or another dial gauge. We have quite a few smaller ones, and ones that we have one for every occasion, should I say. That's it. The actual tail stock, I can just get this out the way without dropping anything again. The actual tail stock, as I say, if we move that out the way there, we actually look at the carriage part, which it actually moves the carriage back and forward. This at one time has been broken, so I think what might have happened is they might have left it in gear, and or something like that, and come back and actually snap the tail off it. So what they've actually done is put a piece of metal to keep it in place. But it doesn't really affect anything. For the work I'm doing, I don't really need to have it, in automatic traveling forward and stuff. I can pretty much work just with the tailstock and just with the cross slide. I don't really have a problem. So it's never really affected me in any way. This switch down there, I actually put that on. It didn't have anything like that when I got it. All it had on it was it had a lead coming out the bottom of it, and it plugged into the socket, and then you pressed it on and off with the socket. The gearbox down there, as you can see, really handy, that gearbox. Really good little addition to it. I don't know whether it's original or not. I would imagine this lathe around about 1905 would have been a treadle type lathe, so it probably all these things are probably added later, but that's pretty handy. Again, when I got that, it was in a really bad state of repair, really. It was full of grease, really. Now it's now full of proper oil now, and it goes round and it lubricates properly. Surprisingly, when I took the gearbox to pieces to have a look at it, there was not one bit of wear or damage on any of the teeth on anything. It was as if it'd never been used, which I didn't really expect that. I expected to take it to pieces and having to get wheels cut and everything, trying to get it back into good shape again. It's a really heavy piece of kit. I mean, it's definitely, even though it's only a small lathe, it's certainly a two-man job to move it in any way. I mean, it's really heavy. Yeah, it's as I say, it's really, for me, it feels dead right. I added them oil reservoirs onto the top of it there. I don't really leave them on permanently. All I do is when I'm working, I'll just let them drip away a little. It's only a tiny drip, and it's just to oil the spindle up, just to keep it moving. If you leave them on, it just drips away and goes right into the bottom of the lathe, and it ends up all over. I've got it mounted on a couple of stones, just for rigidity, just to keep it rigid, because when you're doing some cut-off work, you want the lathe to be pretty rigid. It's still a bit, it still feels a bit vibrate. It vibrates a little bit, really, but I don't suppose there's a lot I can do with that, really, with the circumstances I'm in. But yeah, it's a really nice lathe. It certainly does, perfectly ideal. I think it's probably about 400 or so between sensors, something like that. It's not as big as the Sealy, I know that much. It's not as big as the Sealy, but it certainly has a better feel than it. There's not a lot more I could say about this lathe at the minute. I'm sure I'm going to add bits and pieces as I go along. Yeah, so I mean, if there's anybody wants to ask any questions or pass any comments or give me any more additional history on this lathe, I mean, I'm always interested in that. I really, as much as I love clockmaking, and I love my old clocks, and I take a lot of interest in who made them, and I try and find a bit of history for customers very often. I mean, that's what some of them, they come here for, really, is they want to know a little bit about them, and I'll search through databases and I'll try and find out information about them all the time. But I do like my lathes. I've had many. I've had Pultras, I've had I've had Unimats, I've had various. I mean, Unimats to me are a bit like a toy. They certainly don't feel like this type of stuff. Pultras are quite nice, quite robust. They can do well. I think the only thing I can't really do in this workshop at the moment is do some wheel cutting, but I'm looking to do some of that. I'm looking to get involved with that. It's just when the opportunity arises with some equipment, really. I'm actually after another lathe, a Myford 7, as I've said in a previous video. I'm after a particular one, as I say, which did belong to another clockmaker, and it's tooled up literally to do everything, and it's fantastic. And at the moment, it's just lying in the corner of a workshop, and I've offered the guy money. I know how much he paid for it. I've offered him a profit, but what can we do? Doesn't want to part with it, although he's got four lathes, and that one's not getting used whatsoever. But maybe one day he'll ring me, and I'll get that from him, and then we can do another video on that Myford. It's absolutely beautiful. It is. It's a fantastic lathe, and the guy who had it was a fantastic clock restorer, renowned clock restorer, and that lathe has got some special attachments to do Pacific jobs, and really it would be an absolutely dream come true to have that lathe. But as I say, we all just have to wait. All good things come to those who wait. So, as I've said, this is John from Clock Repairs Merseyside. I hope you enjoy these little video shorts, and hopefully I'll keep plenty of them coming. But, you know, please give me a like and a thumbs up. And if you would like to ask any questions, or, you know, give me any comments or whatever, I'm happy to answer them questions, or, you know, reply to you if I can. Yeah, okay. So John from Clock Repairs Merseyside. I'll see you soon. Thank you.